The first step needed to create the analyzation for Godzilla vs. Megalon was I needed to get the data to be used. And the first bit of data I got was I took all the events as I watched the movie and put them into this event type format with the first event of the movie going all the way down to what I put as the 44th. And after getting that event data, I decided I need some groups from the show, so I took the main groups. Then I needed to take the giant monsters or things they're using for the big battle scenes and take some of their abilities. Then I decided I need some of the locations that were shown, at least, or to my best ability, understand where these locations were. And then what the army had, what the vehicles and so forth they were using for the battles to fight off the big monsters. After taking the data that initially was put in, I found that I had to add a few more things to really be able to create the reports as I wanted to be able to show them. So first I clearly left out an index to reference each point of every one of the data to be able to easily use them within the reports. I next needed to group certain ones to show off, be able to slice them down to the way that I wanted to be able to show them. So I made these groups, and then I, at the end, created this locale to be able to put locations to the timeline to be able, when you were shifting through the movie timeline, to show where location-wise the movie was set at. And the two different ones with the locale and the group, I had to create a if statement to dictate what the information would actually be in those columns. The first page that you come to for the report is, of course, the movie timeline. And as you would click along through the timeline, 1 through 42, of course, in chronological order, it'll tell you through clicking on this that it will switch up the appearance of what's going on throughout the page. First thing it'll change is it'll tell you where the location is of these events, and it'll change based on which event you click to where the location is at. Next, it'll give you a description of roughly what happened on that time period. As you see here, it's talking about the nuclear testing. And where was the nuclear testing? Nuclear testing site. And last, it just gives you a synopsis of the main groups that are within and their alliance of if they're good or bad. Next page is to show off a good example of how you know which ones might be a threat or which ones might be helping you, depending on which side you are on, actually. First off, showing two different graphs of both the army that was in the film and the two different kaiju that we're using, of which ones were good or bad, and identifying which they were and aligning on them. Just another graph showing the overall, how much bad versus how much good, clearly looking a little lopsided towards the good side. And then, of course, a slicer being able to cut out all the information of whether you want to see which one's bad or good specifically. And then showing off the army types, the exact what they were, and then be able to cut down to what type of weaponry each of these possessed, so you know, hey, this one had nothing, for instance, in the carrier jeep, because it was just carrying people, and the helicopters had the missiles and so forth, and you could raise or lower the information. And then the multi-core card showing off the name of the kaiju and what abilities that they possess. And then, of course, with the slicer up top, you can click to be able to eliminate the good or the bad side to show, to just specify which one you really wanted to be looking at. And the final page showing off the references in the bottom right of what I used. Primarily, I had used the film itself, and then I used some imagery to and then convey that. And then, for a fun little add-on to this page, just because otherwise it wouldn't have been too much, added the Q&A for a little bit of extra that it can do and probably show off with the data that is in it through the use of the Power BI program. Thanks for watching.